The Chronicles of Narnia, The Witch, the Lion and the Wardrobe. It is wartime. Many families living in London send their children away to live in the countryside, where it is safer. 4 brothers and sisters, Peter, Edmund, Susan and Lucy, were sent to the large house of an old professor who lived with his housekeeper, Mrs. Macready. Now let us meet these people. Hello, I'm Peter the eldest.
Hi, my name is Edmund.
And I'm Susan. Call me Sue if you like. Lucy is my name, and I'm the youngest. I always tell the truth. I'm Mrs. Macready. I don't like children, and they bother me.
I'm the professor.
I like children. In fact, I used to be one myself. We shall meet the other characters later on. On the second day in their new house, the children decided to go out exploring. It started to rain, so they had to be content with looking round the house. It was very quaint, with many rooms on 2 floors. One of the rooms was very peculiar. It was empty, except for an enormous wardrobe at one end. The children came into this room, and they all went out again, except Lucy was very curious and wanted to look inside the wardrobe. She crept inside and was surprised to find that it was very cold and seemed to go a long way in. To her amazement, she suddenly found herself in a wood, with a lamppost in front of her all lit up. Just then a creature came towards her. It was half human at the top and had animal-like legs and a tail. It was Mr. Tumnus the fawn. He dropped the parcels he was carrying, and Lucy helped to pick them up. After that, he invited Lucy to his house, with a plan to kidnap her for the White Witch, who was the Queen of Narnia. Yes, Lucy had found her way into the country of Narnia. The fawn gave her lots of nice food to eat, and then played some music. Lucy fell asleep, but woke up suddenly and asked to go home. Mr. Tumnus the fawn started crying, because he liked Lucy and didn't want to kidnap her. He showed her the way back to the lamppost, and then back home through the wardrobe. Lucy thought that the other children would have missed her, but in fact no time had gone by. In Narnia, the clocks were very different. The other children wouldn't believe Lucy, and Edmund was especially nasty to her. On another day, the children played hide-and-seek. Susan was it and started counting. Edmund followed Lucy and saw her go into the wardrobe. He decided to follow her, and when he got inside the wardrobe, he couldn't find her.
Lucy, where are you? It's Edmund, your brother. All right, I believe you now. Let's call it quits. Just like a girl, sulking, I'll bet. What's that lamppost doing there? It's very cold. I'd better borrow one of these coats in the wardrobe. He walks along a little way, then hears the sound of sleigh bells. What's that? A sledge pulls up, and a big, strong, stern-looking lady is sitting at the front with a dwarf behind her.
Stop! And what, pray, are you?
My name's Edmund.
Is that how you address a queen? The Queen of Narnia? I'm sorry, Your Majesty. I didn't know. What? Not know the Queen of Narnia? What are you? Please, Your Majesty, I'm a boy. A what?
At that moment, the Queen lifts up her wand as if to strike Edmund, but then stops. Edmund feels very, very afraid.
My poor child, how cold you look. Would you like a drink?
Yes, please, Your Majesty.
The dwarf pours out a drink for Edmund.
I hope you like it, boy.
And how about something to eat? What would you like?
Turkish delight, please, Your Majesty.
The Queen lifts up her wand and moves it, and a box of Turkish delight appears. Edmund starts to eat it immediately. "Do you have any brothers or sisters?" "Yes, Your Majesty. One brother and two sisters, but they're not very clever." "I'd like you to go home and bring them back here. Could you do that?" "Oh, yes, easily." "Right, because if you do that for me, then one day I'll make you the King of Narnia." "Thank you, Your Majesty. Have you got any more Turkish delight?" "Not until next time you come with your brother and sisters. Goodbye for now." "Bye." Edmund walks along towards the lamppost and meets Lucy. "Oh, Edmund, I'm so pleased to see you. Now we can tell the others." When they arrived at the house, Edmund got all mean and spiteful, and pretended that he and Lucy were having a game together. This made Lucy cry again. Edmund had really been eating enchanted Turkish delight, which had put him under the Queen's spell. She wanted to get Edmund and the other children to her palace in Narnia, so that she could turn them into stone statues. She was really afraid that they would take over her country. She was in fact a wicked witch who had cursed and spoiled everything in Narnia. The real King of Narnia is Aslan, the Lion King. Peter and Susan were so upset by Lucy's behaviour that they decided to talk to the professor. Next morning they went to his room and told him the whole story.
"How do you know that your sister's story is not true?"
"But Edmund said they'd only been pretending."
Yes, but who usually tells the truth? Would you say Edmund or Lucy?"
"Well, normally I'd say Lucy every time. But it can't be true, can it? All that rot about fawns and a wood."
"I don't know. But to say that your sister's lying is a very serious matter. And why should you think it strange there should be other worlds all over the place?"
"Well, it does sound very strange to me, but I was actually wondering if Lucy's going mad."
"Oh, you can be perfectly sure she's not mad. You've only to talk to her and look at her eyes to know that. In fact, there are just three possibilities. Either she's mad, she's lying, or she's telling the truth. We know she's not mad and doesn't tell lies, so for the moment we must believe that she's telling the truth. May I suggest something?"
"Yes, what's that?"
"That we all mind our own business. Goodbye."
"Goodbye." What a strange man he is, but I do like him. One day after that, Mrs. Macready, the housekeeper, seemed to be following the children all over the house with some special visitors. In the end, the children went into the room with the wardrobe and got inside to escape from Mrs. Macready. They seemed to be there for ages, and then found that it was very cold. Suddenly, the children realized that they had found their way into Narnia. Peter said, "Sorry," to Lucy for not believing her story. Edmund did not say sorry because he was now on the witch's side. A robin fluttered in front of them, inviting them to follow it to the house of Mr. and Mrs. Beaver. On the way, they saw a furry creature hiding behind a tree. It was Mr. Beaver. He came and introduced himself.
"Hello, are you the sons of Adam and daughters of Eve?"
"Yes, we are. Well, some of them."
"Please come quietly, otherwise the witch's spies might hear you."
Edmund said,
"How do you know you're not a spy? How do we know that you're not a spy?"
Mr. Beaver takes out a handkerchief and shows it to them. Lucy, "It's mine. I must have left it at Mr. Tumnus's house. What has happened to him?" Mr. Beaver,
"He's been captured by the enemy, and they say he will be turned into a stone statue by the witch. It's awful."
They got to the Beaver's house, where there's a lovely dam and a house made with twigs and leaves. Mrs. Beaver meets them. "Oh, nice to meet you. You must be tired and hungry. Come in and have a rest and some food." The children sit down at the table, and Mrs. Beaver gives them a delicious meal. They talk about their adventures, and Mr. Beaver says that they have to meet Aslan at a special place called a stone table. They get ready. Lucy.
Where's Edmund? He's gone.
Mr. Beaver.
I'll bet he's gone to the witch's house. Has he been in Narnia before?
Lucy.
Yes, he has.
Mr. Beaver.
We must get going then. The witch will be after us. She wants to turn us all into stone, so she can be the only queen of Narnia.
They all set off, and on the way go into a small cave where they can sleep for a while. During the night they hear the noise of sleigh bells, are scared because they think the witch has caught them. However, it was a pleasant surprise. Father Christmas had come.
I've come at last. The witch has been keeping me away for a long time. Peter, here is a sword and a shield for you. Lucy, a bottle of healing medicine is yours. And Susan, a horn to blow when there's any trouble. A very Merry Christmas, everyone.
Children and beavers.
A Merry Christmas.
Meanwhile, Edmund had gone to the witch's house, and in her garden he saw lots of stone statues, including one of a lion. He began to make fun of it.
I wonder if this is Aslan.
He makes a funny face.
Yeah, silly old Aslan. You can't catch me, king of Narnia. Bah, I don't believe it.
Edmund then sees a wolf and goes over to it. Suddenly it snarls.
Who are you? And what are you doing here?
I'm Edmund, and I've come to see the Queen, to get my Turkish delight.
We'll see about it. Come with me.
The wolf takes hold of Edmund, drags him inside. The witch sees him and is very angry.
Where are the others? Why haven't you brought them?
Please, your majesty, they're at the beaver's house. I'm going to the stone table to meet Aslan.
The Queen.
Did you say Aslan? Don't you dare say that name again, or you'll be killed.
The witch gets her sledge ready and ties Edmund up. The dwarf gives him a piece of bread and some water, which Edmund doesn't like at all, but he was afraid to do anything. They finally reached the stone table. The witch tied Edmund to a tree, was just about to use her knife, when suddenly there was a scuffle. Some of Aslan's friends had come to Edmund's rescue. The witch was knocked over, and Edmund was set free. The witch then asked to see Aslan.
What do you want? You know what I want. I want the boy. He belongs to me. He's mine. He ate of my poisoned Turkish delight. Aslan. Yes, you're right. So what do you want to do? Do? I want the boy. He's my property. He's mine. Just a minute. Let you and I have a chat together.
Aslan and the witch go off to a quiet corner and talk for a few minutes. Then they come back and Edmund is allowed to go free. But Aslan has agreed to give his life in exchange for Edmund, and the witch gladly takes Aslan, shaves his beard, then with her knife kills him. The children are devastated, and Lucy cries her eyes out. After a long, long time, it seemed like days, Lucy hears a voice.
Lucy, why are you crying?
Oh, Aslan, I thought you were dead. What has happened?
Yes, the witch thought she had me, but she didn't know that because I was willing to die for Edmund, more magic would happen, and I would come back to life again. Now we must fight a battle before you can become kings and queens of Narnia.
Peter takes his sword and goes to fight Morgrim, the chief of the wolves, eventually kills it. Then Aslan makes him a knight. Aslan.
Arise, Sir Peter. But look, you've got blood on your sword. Never forget to wipe your sword.
After that, Edmund became a different person and said,
Sorry,
to Lucy, Susan and Peter. Then the children were taken to a special palace called Cair Paravel, where they were crowned kings and queens of Narnia. All the people of Narnia and the talking animals welcomed them wherever they went, and the people cried out, Long live King Peter! Long live Queen Susan! Long live Queen Lucy! Long live King Edmund! Hooray for Aslan! May he live forever! No person on this earth has ever died and come back to life again, as Aslan did. All except Jesus, who came to earth 2,000 years ago. He willingly died for all our bad behavior and came back to life again. Jesus overcame the power of death. He's alive to help us today. Anyone who believes in Jesus will have a new life which is full of adventure and lasts forever. So that is the story of the Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. Hope you enjoyed it and it makes sense to you. God bless you.